So I just want to make a brief addendum to my last video talking, and just kind of be done with this whole situation after this. But first I wanted to kind of explain the best of my ability what happened with why I showed this clip here. So basically I admit that I had a misinterpretation of the situation. I thought that the GM was just ignoring that that person said that hot word I'm not going to repeat. It's too hot for me to touch. I'm not touching it, not saying it, not an abbreviation or anything, not for me. You see it, you see it, you know, and that's a big accusation, shouldn't be played around with. It's a weird joke. I see a lot of weird guys like that on there every day. The GMs usually don't care. I thought this was a situation just like that. What happened was actually, though, is, I mean, let me back up. Why I had the misinterpretation was, so they were, is to the best of my knowledge, saying what their favorite hip-hop song was. So I thought the GM had just ignored that whole thing there and just said his favorite hip-hop song. What he actually was doing was saying that link isn't that, it's actually an Outkast link. And I didn't know that until after I had posted the video, and then I decided to look up Outkast myself, and I seen that the link corroborated with the URL in that video I made. So I'm like, okay, I made a mistake there. No big deal. I have no problem with admitting to mistakes. I don't know about most of you guys that have problems with me, and probably you behind these server that just probably double down on every error. You know, that's just how woke people act, and I don't care to generalize, because I have no problem with demonizing and using harsh, big words like Nazis for people that just have different beliefs than you. I mean, I don't care how light it is. It can be just the slightest difference of opinion, and these people will cry at Nazi. But you can say that on there, like I showed, but you can't say other N-words. But that Nazi word gives you a legitimate cause to, as you guys say, punch Nazis, all this stuff. I think it's just as bad as the other N-word, you know. But let me stop there, because it's just slightly inappropriate for me to take things that heated on a channel like this. I wouldn't care to do it on another channel, but I'm going to try to be a little more restrained on this channel about that. So I've got that out of the way. I don't care to have a bit of a bite when I talk about this now on this channel, because it's just sickening that the idea is, I don't care where you are, pretty much in the West basically, but you guys are in Russia, I guess, and it's quite strange you have this attitude. You're taking things for granted over there. You know, you got a lot to deal with over there here recently. Now, I've always had a soft spot for Russia that I'm not going to talk about personally. I'm not pro any side in this war, but just the thing is that most people with this woke mentality are just very entitled, have control issues, and they cannot limit themselves to just disagreeing with someone. They have to demonize them down to a Nazi or whatever they want to demonize them as, and it's usually what it would be, whatever the media constructed that straw man as for them. And if it was towards black people, they would do it towards black people. These people are not really invested into their anti-racism, whatever it is. These are just drones kind of getting dopamine rushes off of selective outrage constructs that these people make for them, these social engineers, as it were. So I don't have, this isn't an entitlement thing on my end making these videos. This is something for me to look back on and just kind of you know, bringing a bit of myself into the fold here of you know, I don't consider myself a gamer personally. I don't like to label myself anything, but I've played a lot of games in my time, and I definitely played a lot of this one in my spare time. And I just don't think it would be fair to not add a little bit of a commentary on the situation given the times we're in, because that's what I was about to say. It's like, you can't go and touch grass without dealing with these motherfuckers, and apparently you can't even go into a game because that's what I meant by you taking that for granted. I don't think you have to deal with that much woke stuff in Russia. So, like over here in the States, guys, if you don't know, or I mean, I'm sure you know in UK and other places that are pretty woke and all kinds of stuff, you know, you have to walk on eggshells around a lot of people. Because people found it fashionable to identify with just crazy people that are outraged by selective things. You know, whether it's a thug dying and the media says to go riot and kill over him, or whatever it is, they sensationalize. The statistics be damned, they just want the sensationalization. I don't know how to say it, but they just want the whatever's sensationalized by the media. They don't care what the actual statistics are about things. They just want the sensational stuff. So, and before you guys say you sound like Tim Pool or whatever, I don't listen to any of these people. I've heard them, yes, but I don't sit there and listen to them and try to develop a mentality from them. I developed my mentality at a very early age about this stuff, but I don't listen to any other man. I personally sit back, read the Bible sometime, and I keep it myself. If that sounds cringe to you, that sounds not to your liking, I'll move on. You know, I don't see why you need to drop a dislike, but it's there. Feel free to. I'm not going to cry about it. I just leave everything open on this channel because I don't really care. It's just a silly little channel I made to document some things that I may or may not come back to and look at in the future. So there it is. But that's really all I wanted to say. And I probably shouldn't hold back as much as I have. Not that I'm going to start screaming or, you know, using a lot of expletives, but I probably should be a little harsher because, I mean, this says a lot here. You know, the strangest thing about this server to me is the control element, because they're very invested that I've never seen like before, I don't think anyway, of wanting to just maintain the status quo of being politically correct. But who cares if they talk about feet and scat or whatever every day in front of probably children on the game? Who cares about that, right? It's just about what offends man children. It's all that matters. And I guess what offends them personally. And I had about enough of it. So I'm glad to be gone. I would have liked to have ended on my own terms after I got done ranking, but this is okay too. It's better sooner than later, probably. This is a lot of wasted time, but I needed to get distracted, as I said. But that's my personal business. But yeah, the contradiction here is that I didn't mention though, and then I'll really wrap it up, is that they have a channel called Basement, and maybe they'll change it if they hear me say this or something, but basically that's a place for so-called cis white male right-wingers to vent, and and I guess if those that do exist and stuff, you know, that stereotype, and I know they do exist, they will say pretty much whatever they want to in there, whether it's conspiracy facts or theories or expletives that you can't say in world chat that aren't sexually, like, it's usually homoerotic kind of stuff that's accepted on world chat for some reason. I don't know, don't ask me. But you can say whatever you want to. So if they were trying to avoid like controversy, why'd they allow that? It sounds like they might be closeted Nazis themselves or something. I don't know. You know, this whole situation just bothers me because I just can't imagine a grown man that is invested in all that and couldn't just, you know, a permanent ban on me just for literally posing a question, not even towards the GMs or anything, but towards people that were calling me names, and just have this vindictive attitude in general, but they don't get banned. It just shows me the bias. It just shows me where you guys stand. It shows that you're not really interested in keeping things clean and safe and whatever. I don't know if you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but it just whatever you feel is you need to censor. Yeah, you do in a way, but it's in a politically and morally biased way. It's completely subjective in the status quo sense. It has nothing to do with objective reality. Nothing. And he proved that. And I'm glad to share that with the world if I can. Of course, I don't want this to blow up. And I'm not asking anyone to share this. I don't care if it did. But I just want to set it for the record myself, because that's pretty shitty, guys. I don't know how else to put it. It's like, why in the hell would you act like that with all this stuff going on? I just have to stress again, it's like, man, why would you act like that? It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm going to end it on that note.